Broads Media.
What is going on, everyone? Before we talk about whatever that was, I can't even call it a basketball game. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button as well. I greatly appreciate all the support. And if you haven't noticed, I have been working on some settings with my microphone. I'm tweaking things. I'm just tweaking things, so bear with me here. And real quickly, if you're looking to buy tickets to go to any NBA, NHL, NFL game, go to SeatGeek. You can utilize the promo code BROADS at your checkout, and you're basically getting $20 off. You're eliminating your fees right from the jump. It's a no-brainer. Get yourself to a game today. I'm basically giving you a $20 bill. Take it right from my hands, why don't you? Promo code BROADS, SeatGeek checkout page. With that being said, enjoy the show. What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Broads. What a dreadful game of basketball. I swear to God, if I'm the NBA, I'm not giving either of these teams the victory. It's straight up going to be a draw, or both teams should get losses. That was putrid. The way that they were shooting the basketball, embarrassing. You know, a lot of people say, well, the defense and the defense. No, stop with the defense this, the defense that. This was a game of basketball that was just putrid from an offensive standpoint. And when you analyze the Philadelphia 76ers, it seemed like everyone was stagnant. There wasn't a lot of ball movement where they were trying to establish post-up position and getting the basketball in the post-up area. There was a lack of awareness passing the ball there. You know, it was all around a mess, and we could look back at that last possession where they did have an opportunity because what happened? It was Danny Green. Seth Curry had a three that put them up earlier in the fourth quarter, but Danny Green out of nowhere took a 90-foot three-point shot, nothing but net. The Sixers get a stop on the defensive side of the floor, and they're actually in position with 6.1 seconds left to sneak out of Boston victorious somehow, some way. And then there's that play call by Doc Rivers. Tobias Harris gets the ball at the top of the perimeter. Good defense was played by Boston in that sequence. Al Horford was a difference maker. What do you know? Shocker. My guy early on's knocking down all these shots. It looked like he was on his way to drop 62, but he did make some impact plays, all jokes aside. Defensively during that last possession, he was there. But, you know, obviously that last play was drawn up for Joel Embiid. There was a mismatch there due to size. But I've watched that play over and over and over and over again, and I just don't know where Tobias Harris is going to be able to find a seam to try and get that right on the money. It was very, very difficult. What I would have done if I was Tobias Harris, now dribbling backwards with 6 seconds up, yeah, that makes me uncomfortable, and I'm not happy about it. But when he was rolling to his right and dribbling that way, he hits Niang in the corner that ends up getting blocked. It did look like Danny Green. Look, he just drilled the obnoxiously deep three right beforehand. Maybe there's something to giving the hot hand a shot there. Maybe I would have looked in his direction, but I'm not telling you that's the play call I would have loved in general. I'm just saying based off of the circumstances as the play played out, maybe that's where I would have went if I was Toby. But Toby was putrid in this game. I mean, I'm watching possessions where he's posting up right next to Joel Embiid trying to post up, and how many times has Brett Brown been criticized in the past for the good old double post up, whether it's Ben and Joel. I mean, Tobias is out there getting in the way of his teammates and not being a factor. Look, this entire team right now doesn't really have an identity. This game didn't have an identity. It was so tough to watch. I'm sitting there watching the Flyers get their ass kicked on the secondary TV in New York against the Rangers, and that was almost more entertaining than this debacle. No one can make their shots. Here's the stat lines of some of the players early on in the first half. It was only a 4-point game. Somehow, some way, it was a 4-point game at the half. 44-40 in favor of Boston. Harris shot 1 of 6. Embiid shot 1 of 9. Maxey shot 1 of 7. And Green shot 0 of 3. In what universe is it a 4-point game if that's the case? Well, your answer is Shake Milton, who was able to knock some shots down early. I thought Drummond was a spark plug at times as well. And here's what I've been telling everybody for the last, 3 or 4 episodes ago. And it was on, or I should say over the last 3 or 4 episodes straight. And it showed its ugly head once again. Matisse Thybulle cannot play at the end of basketball games. It's the same conversation we had when Ben Simmons was here. Okay, it's as simple as you cannot be a one-dimensional player in the NBA. Why was Joel Embiid easily getting double-teamed the way that he was? And look, he's not playing very well. And I know that the mid-range jumpers, it's not smooth, and he's not executing well. But that was a dominating force of his game when he was playing at an MVP level. He was able to face you up and just nonstop knock it down at will. Now, right now, that's not happening. It's not. So you got to go to plan B until you find your rhythm again. And the only way to really do this is keep playing, keep trotting through it, keep fighting through it. Adversity's going to hit. Eventually, you'll sneak yourself out of this. See, Joel Embiid is too talented of a player for this to be what he's going to consistently give you over 82. And as much as everyone's down on Tobias Harris, and I get it, he's not this embarrassing either. He's not this shitty. And I know what you're thinking. Yes, he is, bro. He sucks. He's not this. I've seen him be consistently, significantly better than this. The team right now, we knew they were going to take a hit. And I tried to explain to everyone, you're going to have to really somewhat maneuver around how you feel about these games heading into each night. Now, they should be better than 500, but when COVID attacks you the way that it does, and you're battling injuries at the same time, you go on that bad run and that bad stretch of the schedule, you're going to lose games, unfortunately, and put you behind the 8 ball. But you had to adjust your expectations knowing the scenario that you were in. And I got a group chat where we talk sports all day long, and it's get rid of Ben, just get rid of him. But Daryl Morey is being a prick. And I tried explaining. So if your concept right now is get rid of Ben Simmons, so that could change the trajectory of what this is, regardless of what you get, just get rid of him to get rid of him. What are you bringing in here? You're not bringing in any game changers. This team lacks someone to help close out by the perimeter in games. If your theory is, well, you got to trade Ben because this is a dumpster fire and you're just going to get random role players back, what are you getting then? You're getting guys that aren't closers, that are just guys, Niangs, Thibos, Danny Greens. Like, what do you think you're getting if you're just going to toss him along the side here and get trash for him? That's going to significantly change the outcome of these games down the road. It doesn't make any sense to me. So you're losing these games right now. Yeah, and it's an adjustment emotionally because over the last handful of years, we headed into each season saying, let's go win a championship. Let's go compete at the top of the Eastern Conference. And based off of Ben Simmons not wanting to be here, that hurts. That hurts. At the end of the day, that hurts. And without finding a suitable partner that makes sense for this organization, which is the right way to handle this if you're Daryl Morey, I like the way that he's doing things. Long term, it makes the most sense. The knee-jerk reaction is what a lot of the fools want in this city, which is go get anything for him, a bag of chips for him, which is ridiculous. But knowing that this year, yeah, I mean, it sucks. Embiid, he doesn't have the longest time in the world. And right now, he's not even playing up to his standards anyway. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, it's not easy. I don't know how you're going to handle this night in and night out if you don't kind of change your expectations on where it's at. This is a team that isn't a top 3 style squad. And right now, they're really trying to figure out who they are. And it's going to take time because there's a lot to learn here. You have a young kid in Tyrese Maxey that's really trying to adapt to having a big man back in this lineup. And it's changing the style of play, which makes a lot of sense. And it's okay for that to happen, but it takes time to understand. How is this going to work? How are we going to operate? These two have to figure out and get on the same page with the two-man game. You know, Seth Curry did what he could, knocking down some shots, scoring 17 points. But at the end of the day, you need more help outside by the perimeter to really help you kind of create and help you when you need possessions to be bailed out. And they don't have someone to bail you out in a big-time scenario down the stretch in the fourth quarter. And that's not a Joel Embiid problem because he's a center. And it's not something that you can consistently do night in and night out as a 7'2" guy. But it's clear he's got to be better than this. He's going to have to dig deep, look himself in the mirror. I'm sure a lot of it is the physical stuff of not being available for a while because of the COVID protocols. And then on top of that, just getting himself back into rhythm. I would love to sit here and say that you just step back on the floor and you never skip a beat, but that's unfair. Now, I mean, I won't be satisfied with this forever. I'm not satisfied with it now. I'm just saying at some point, my understanding, all right, I get it, you need time back, Eventually, that will run dry, and I will be harsher about it. But right now, if I take away the 76ers glasses and I analyze where they're at, it kind of makes sense that they're here. Look, the Celtics aren't good, and they were not special to win this game. Tatum, big shot late. I thought the Matisse Thybulle, the block, it looked so clean, but the follow-through of the block ended up hitting his forearm. Very unfortunate. And I know Matisse Thybulle hit the three-pointer earlier, but I'm sorry. You cannot justify having him play out there in the late moments. But I know everybody's on Doc Rivers for that late possession, and I'm not telling you it was the greatest possession in the world, but I go back to something that I believe in, that I've been trying to stress to everybody since the whole Brett Brown era. All right? You don't have the personnel to succeed. You don't have the personnel to execute late right now. You just don't. You don't. You don't have the personnel to execute. My biggest problem with today is the usage of Matisse Thybulle more than Doc Rivers and the final play call. I'm not telling you that I stand by it and I say it's elite and it's not an issue at all. Of course. It wasn't the smoothest in the world. My point is, it's hard to operate late in the fourth quarter when this is what your team is right now. That's reality of the situation. So here we are. It's just kind of where we're at right now. We're at a loss for words, watching this team be somewhat stagnant, not moving around. I thought there were a lot of possessions where I watched a lot of guys just doing a lot of nothing, which kind of made me furious. And then there were times to inbound. They weren't able to execute that properly. That was a messy, sloppy game. I couldn't tell you the last time I saw these two rivals go up against one another, and it was this disgusting. See, normally just the energy and the hatred and how we despise one another, that carries over and rolls over enough to make it entertaining and make it solid for what it is. But it was so bad. It's like you're watching two really bad teams play, and not really bad's a strong word, but two mediocre teams. I think that's fair to say based off of what their records are. The Boston Celtics are trying to figure out what's going on with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and what's their identity, and they have to figure out their front office, Brad Stevens, and the new head coach, and they're kind of lost and somewhat trying to look for answers just like the Sixers are, and that game somewhat defined exactly that. Both teams, it's not about them taking steps in the right direction. They were both just out there junking it up. It was a bunch of mess. It was a bunch of slop. And at the end of the day, somebody had to win, but nobody really went out there and took it. Maybe you could look at a couple last possessions and think, well, maybe, you can make the argument that the Celtics did based off of what they did defensively. Yes and no. My answer to that is honestly yes and no. I did see the Nets collapse, though, a couple times. How about that for a dandy? Here we are sitting through halftime. Oh, yeah, it's time to play basketball again. Excuse me? Huh? I'm sorry, I got shit to do tonight. I ain't trying to stay up till 11, 12, 1 o'clock a.m. recording. Please, the thing I love about basketball and the 76ers, this game was 7:30, so it was pushed back a little bit, but I love 7 o'clock games. The game ends at 9:30. The beauty about doing post-game podcasts for NBA games is it's a lot better than some of the other 8 o'clock Flyers games, even 7 o'clock Flyers games. Roll into that 10 o'clock hour. I can get done sooner with an NBA game, but no, I got to watch this nonsense of them trying to figure out this damn net. The hell is the matter with you? I could say the same exact statement if you're not utilizing DeSimone Jewelers. What's that? DeSimone Jewelers is my jeweler. I went to them for my fiance's engagement ring, and I never looked back. I went for her birthday. I went for Valentine's Day. I went for Christmas. Every single holiday, I'm going to DeSimone Jewelers. Family-owned business, by the way, located in Haddonfield, New Jersey, previously in Jewelers Row. Will, Lou, Nick, Mike, they are just fantastic people. They treat you like you're part of their family. You're not just a customer. You're not just a person they're trying to make a quick buck on. No. know. They're so passionate. They like to teach you and educate you about the clarity and the diamonds, and they give you these tools and equipment to study the difference, and they work with you to get the best design at the most reasonable price you will find in this market. I actually had one buddy who went to a different place, and I told him what I got my ring for, and he was like, holy shit, I'm going to return this, and I'm going to DeSimone Jeweler. I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm telling you, they hook you up. It's A+, it's fantastic, and it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful jewelry. They can provide custom jewelry design, jewelry repairs, appraisals, watch repairs, battery replacement, diamond setting, jewelry cleaning, and more. Make sure you tell them that Brode sent you. Their information is down below in the description, DeSimoneJewelers.com. All right, let's flood on over to the Anytime Hotline. Hear the reaction from the people after the game. I'd imagine they're not happy. And if I had to guess, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people to kind of target the frustration towards. Clearly, Doc Rivers. I think Tobias Harris is a no-brainer. And I wonder what the post is going to be of Joel Embiid. Because there's understanding of what he's went through, but at the same time, when you go 1 for 9 in the first half and then you finish out, like, you could talk about the rebounds and, okay, defensively he did this and that. Yeah, he had the one block. Marcus Smart was complaining and thought it was a goaltending. That one stood out to me towards the end there. But, like, to me, this was more about both teams just failing to execute more than it is like, what elite defense? What clamps these teams were just putting on nonstop. You could pick out moments, right? I'm not going to act as if there was zero defense involved. Clearly, you could pick out moments. They didn't turn, the Sixers, that is, they didn't turn the ball over a lot in the first half. They just missed their shots. That's what it seemed. But I feel like that's more of the story. Like, why wasn't the scoring high? Was it because the defense was great throughout? Or was it more of not making your shots, the inability to make your shots? I thought it was just bad offense being ran, and that was more of it. But like I said, you can clearly pick out certain situations, whether it's Jaylen Brown or Al Horford or Embiid. Like, I'm not saying there was zero defense at all. I just thought that was a mess and just disgusting from that offensive perspective. But here we go. Anytime Hotline. Let's kick it off.
I know this is probably I know this is an overreaction, but this motherfucker Tobias is just robbing our shit right now. I mean, this guy fucking sucks. I mean, yeah, the game wasn't lost just because of Tobias. I mean, the whole team really sucked, but, like, holy shit, we need way more out of this dude. I mean, holy fuck.
Yeah, we do. I mean, there's no denying it. The first person targets Tobias Harris. And yeah, I mean, obviously, he's not playing well enough. And, when I watch somebody play in this league for a long period of time, when they log in a lot of minutes, I think it's pretty clear that he's overpaid and his contract does not match his skill set and production. But, I mean, he's not this, right? I mean, you can see that he can consistently score 20 points for you. He can grab some rebounds. Last year, he was way better when it comes to defending. Like, last year, we talked about his defense. Like, wow, look at how much stronger he got in that department. We've seen him be better with just selecting his possessions offensively. When the ball came to him, he already knew what he was going to be doing. He was thinking the game better. And is there a correlation between Ben Simmons being on the floor and not being on the floor? Yeah, I think probably there is a part of that. Working with a new primary point guard. I tried explaining to you this before. When you start a new point guard, that is a new quarterback. That is a whole entire new system. That's a brand new lifestyle as an NBA team when you bring in somebody like that. So there's a whole adjustment involved. But yeah, I mean, I would like for him to be sharper. I'm not making excuses for him. I'm just looking for the reasons why. And I think there is a correlation between Tyrese Maxey, no Ben Simmons. That's kind of playing a role in the funk that he's in right now. But I go back to, I've seen him play well enough where he's not what we want him to be, right? Nobody's debating that. He's not this. If you see this for 82 straight games, then blow my brains out. All right, then chop my head off. He has enough of a resume and enough of a sample size to know that he's what we've seen out of him in years past, which is good nights. Good nights. He's good. Good. He's an above average player. He's a good player in this league. He's not a great player. All right, he's the fringe all-star. That's Tobias Harris. What we've been getting is not that. And I would like for him to step up right now, but it's clear as an entire team, something's off. And when it's 4 or 5 different guys all at the same exact time, that's more of a product of understanding the flow of the offense more than it is one guy just sucks, right? This isn't as simple as, well, one guy's just awful. When it's a collective group and it's over a period of time, an entire window of time, that tells me more about this team trying to be a brand and them learning their new brand and a system more than it is just one guy's not good enough. So it's the collective unit that they got to tweak some things. They got to figure things out. They got to go back to the drawing board. They need to study getting the ball into the post. And look, sometimes it's personnel based. When Matisse Thybulle's out there, I've been through that. It really hinders your offense because teams aren't even giving him the time of day on offense. They don't give a damn about Matisse Thybulle, which makes it that much more difficult for Joel Embiid. And we've been screaming that same message when it came to Ben Simmons for how long now? We're just experiencing it with another guy who's elite defensively, but doesn't have a lick of an offensive game. And you're seeing the struggles of that too when he's out there. So that's also an element of it also. What's next?
Yo, bro's big fan. I just finished watching the Sixers game. Pretty sloppy game. It came down to the end, and we had a chance to win, but I have no idea what that last play was. Look, bottom line, Embiid struggled, but that happens. I mean, he's the type of player, like, if he can come out and establish himself in the post early, he'll dominate, but he's not trying to fight for post position. Like, if you make it clear early that he can't have the post, he's just going to stand out on the perimeter and shoot threes all game, especially with Tobias Harris trying to get post-ups. And when it comes to Tobias Harris, I have no idea what he's doing out there. None whatsoever. He can't beat anybody off the dribble. He's not athletic. He don't play defense. He can't pass. He can't shoot the three. He doesn't do anything. He's a waste of space. He's taking up all Joel Embiid's space. The offense should be running through Tyrese Maxey, Seth Curry, and Joel Embiid. Tobias Harris needs to be in the corner somewhere. They need to stop trying to run the offense through him. He can't dribble. Al Horford is locking him up from the perimeter. He can't go anywhere.
So here's what I say. It's funny. You say he can't do this, he can't do that, he can't defend it. Like last year, we were actually super stoked and super pumped because he was doing that, and he did it for a long period of time. Now, he's not elite in all of these areas, but that's why I go, like, he's not this disgusting, but I understand the frustration because he's clearly target enemy number one when he gets paid, and we know he's not worth that value as it is. And when Joel Embiid did try to establish the post up, it wasn't there. See, I'll defend Joel in this regard where, I mean, to say he's not allowed to take mid-range days or work from the outside in and all of that, well, that's foolish because what makes Joel Embiid so special is the fact that you can't guard him. He's so versatile. He has so much in his bag that he can pull out anything. You want some Hakeem footwork in the post? Well, then good luck trying to stop that. You want a fadeaway jumper where a double team's coming? Okay, have at it. You want just a face-up game and some jab steps? He's been through this before where he was nonstop drilling it. So what's the difference right now? Is it his body and the fatigue and just the inability of playing over the last however long it's been, however many games he missed, where it just takes time to get back into that rhythm? Is he not as good as what he displayed last year? And that's such a great percentage that he won't match that over a 5-year sample size. That's always been a big fear of mine of, did we grow our expectations way too large where we are now saying that, oh, Joel Embiid is that. And it's like, well, maybe not that. He's still a very, very special player, but is he that for 5 straight years? That's a very large task to provide, especially based off of the scenario that has hit the 76ers this season, whether it's just COVID or Ben Simmons and the roster and all of it kind of combined together. So, yeah, I mean, I get the frustration, and I know it's going to target towards Tobias. I think there's a lot more than just Tobias. It starts with everyone just being out of sync right now. When everyone looks this way on the offensive end, I think you have to look at the head coach and Doc Rivers and go, okay, why is it this way? Why am I watching possessions where two guys are posting up against one another? And is that Tobias just doing it on his own? And then it's like, yo, dude, you cannot do this. Tobias Harris and Doc Rivers seem to have a relationship where if there's anyone that can get the most out of Tobias Harris, it's definitely him, and we've seen it before. So why is it to this level of dysfunction right now? When the offensive brand is what we saw tonight, we got to go back to the drawing board as an entire unit, not just your starting five, but it's more than that. With Seth Curry, run your offense through him? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I do think at some point there's a cap on that, but his ability to play a two-man game with Joel Embiid is definitely dynamic, and they probably have the best relationship of anybody right now as a unit on this team, so there is something to that as an offensive look that you can consistently go to. But, I mean, at some point, you got to do something different. And with Seth Curry, there are limitations on the defensive end with the Tyrese Maxey out there. And that's why you bring back the conversation of, hey, Matisse Thybulle is a difference maker defensively. And when you have a Seth Curry and a Tyrese Maxey, that can get exposed. So it's not the easiest answer in the world. It's not very simple. And that's when it goes back to my basic statement right from the jump, which is before you start peeling back the layers, this team is limited due to personnel to run very smooth. Now, they can run better than what they ran today, and that's why I think it's fair to critique them and criticize them, because you can be sharper than this without a doubt, even with your limitations. But, it makes sense that in fourth quarters, they struggle to kind of run what they want to run at a consistent pace.
Awful. What the fuck was that play? Now, awful. Let's go. Doc, what are you doing? The plays are awful. Not a great win. Not awful loss today. Not very happy. Just my biggest takeaway is Doc. I'm not happy with so much standing around. I mean, I'm trying to see Embiid, try to post up. I feel he's not deep enough, but Schroeder's kind of helped double. Like everyone's just standing around. We got to get some more movement so when we have these mismatches, people are open. There's so much standing around. Very cold night. My man Seth Curry, once again, hope he shoots more, but what an awful, awful performance tonight.
It was awful. It was a terrible game. I had this one highlighted on my little schedule here on my desk because the Flyers have been putrid. I'm like, okay, Sixers magic. They squeaked through. It was a brutal game there, too. Like, they started out in the first quarter. You thought maybe they would cruise to victory and just dominate. That was not the case. They had to grind it out. And it's like, oh, wow, you're going into the TD Garden. I mean, that was just a really bad basketball game. And now they play the Atlanta Hawks on Friday. We'll see if it's any better. I mean, can it get much worse? I guess the answer is yes. You could get to the Flyers level where you lose 7 straight games and you're just snowballing out of control. It hasn't hit rock bottom yet, but there's definitely an identity shift here that has to happen. And with Doc Rivers, I think that's where it begins, but it goes back to when you're capped, it's difficult. It doesn't make it any easier when that is the case. But yes, I think that there are definitely angles that you can look at with Doc. And my biggest beef would be the usage rate of Matisse Thybulle. And I get what you're trying to do, but when you see, and it's basically been established that this isn't working, and if you're trying to live off of the fact that he made one corner three earlier during the late stages of the game, I'm sorry, Matisse Thybulle's track record is long enough to tell me that, like, I'm watching Joel get suffocated. And he's probably going to get suffocated no matter who's out there, but it makes it that much different when the answer and the response isn't a Matisse Thybulle three. I mean, I've even watching plays get drawn up where they're getting the ball in the post and then they're kicking it out to Matisse Thybulle by design. I'm going, what are we doing? What are we doing? Oh, man. I knew this would be an adjustment, though, as a fan base, because it's so like when I first started this channel, we were getting out of the process. So regular season games were awesome. Wow, we can actually watch this team on a night-to-night basis and care about their wins because it mattered. And we've been in the dumpster for so long. We were stuck at the bottom for forever. We didn't even know what watching the basketball team was like consistently. Now you go through that, and then you go through, hey, we're an NBA Finals team. That was our message and our thoughts before each season began. Now regular season game, they just have like the transition on how we feel as a fan base dating back to 4 years ago to now. It makes a lot of sense. I understand it, but it's just funny to kind of look at it with that kind of magnifying glass, if you will. So that's kind of where we're going to end things here, honestly. I don't know how much more I have to say on it. It's bad. It's a bad game, and it's a team right now that is somewhat lost, and they have to figure something out. You know, you watch the Suns play, you watch Golden State play, and you know what they're going to bring to the table night in and night out. I have no idea what this team is going to be, and who knows what the night would have looked like if Shake Milton wasn't knocking down his shots early, or Drummond gave you a little bit of a run, grabbing a board, running the floor. Oh, man. Unbelievable. All righty, everyone. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of Sports Talk with Broads, and I will see you next time.